Typically when creating a game, developers put their heads together to come up with a premise as to what the game is all about, and more importantly, why the game is even going to exist in the first place. What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Smash JT. And this Concord beta has been such an epic fail that it has me continually going back to the question of why? Like, why is this even a thing? What is the purpose of it? What purpose does Concord serve? And I keep going back to absolutely nothing. The only thing that makes any sense whatsoever is that this is just a game to exist to enable DEI injection into the video game industry for representation purposes to match what they think the modern audience is. And at the end of the day, all the developers over at Sony are going to be left with is there is no audience for it. Hit that subscribe, give me a like, and check out SmashJT.com for the full article breaking down my thoughts on this Concord beta and what an epic fail it truly is. This game is dead on arrival, and I don't take those words lightly. I genuinely feel like this is not going to succeed for many reasons, despite what those so-called journos want you to think about this game. Isn't it interesting, by the way, and I'll get to this later in the video, but isn't it interesting how the journos always try to push this type of game on gamers when the whole time, all along the way, we're saying, we don't want this. This is not a game we want to play. The first beta early access weekend for Concord has come and gone, and early reviews from gamers have painted a bleak picture of a game that is nothing more than a generic DEI Overwatch clone, complete with unnecessary pandering to modern audiences, including pronouns for everyone involved, including the robots. Which is just one of those things where I'm like, I don't know if you're trying to be like ironically funny about this, like if you're a developer and you know that you're going full on embracing this DEI injection into your game to the point of joking with yourself and poking fun at it yourself. But I don't think they're doing that. I really feel like the people making this game are trying to make a social impact with pushing an agenda, making it feel like it's totally normal for pronouns to exist and to go around introducing yourself with pronouns because we all have pronouns, so we should just name our pronouns and be respectful of each other. And here's a game to encourage that. Game Characters AI on Twitter said, "Hero shooters then and now. In a few short years from the original Overwatch from 2016 to Concord, set to release in 2024. I mean, how many more examples do we need about what DEI does to our games? Then going over to the Steam charts and looking at the player base, which I get it, it was not the open beta yet. This was just the closed early access weekend. But still, to have an all-time peak of players on Steam from early access pre-ordering this of 372 people, that is just so pathetically, embarrassingly bad that the people over at Sony working on this game, putting it out, have to look at each other and be like, uh-oh. The Concord beta early access weekend ran from July 12th to 14th. That was Friday through Sunday. And it was a terrible showing. Most YouTubers that I saw playing this were giving it a meh, it's an alright game that's very rough around the edges, that costs money to play, when there is a far superior game out there that's free to play called Overwatch 2. And yes, I'm sure people have their issues with Overwatch 2 just as much as anything else out there, but when it comes to a arena shooter game styled with this kind of environment, and you have a free-to-play from a massive AAA publisher, Blizzard Entertainment, making this game, and you're saying, no, I'm going to go pay for a DEI pandered injection nightmare from Sony, pay money for it to play it for a worse experience overall, just doesn't make the best buying proposition to the end user. Delibrium on Twitter said, "It's still not in open beta. It will be in 2 days. That said, the game definitely underperforms looking at the Steam wishlist. A game in early access that's a complete success, no rest for the wicked, is a good example of how it should look, and I was a part of it." The Concord Open Beta Weekend runs from July 18th to 21st, that's Thursday through Sunday, and initially, this was not going to be an open beta weekend. It was going to be pre-orders only. Anyone via Steam or PlayStation, if you pre-ordered the game, you could join into this. And Sony realized quickly that nobody was pre-ordering this game, and it's an arena shooter where you need people online to play it, and nobody was going to buy it. So they had to open it up for people who own a PlayStation 5 to get it for free, as long as you're paying for PS Plus, which is required to go online anyways. So, I mean, yeah, if you have a PlayStation 5 and you want to play this game online, it's part of having a PlayStation 5 with an online package. So it's a way to include more people and hopefully up the numbers for the player base. But I already know that this is going to end in an abysmal failure. Grums on Twitter said, "Where is the new modern audience I keep hearing about? Did the pandering not work out?" With the John Travolta meme of looking around. But here's the thing. It's fascinating looking at this game in particular as Exhibit A for what not to do when making a game. It's fascinating to observe how many so-called professional review outlets don't notice this. They're bending over backwards to hype the game, despite the general public sentiment out there that Concord is just not worth supporting. People are not saying it's a terrible game, by the way. That's not the angle I'm taking. It's actually a decent arena shooter, which is all well and good until you consider the external factors of it's very rough around the edges, which, yes, in time it can be patched, fixed up, and made better, but it costs money to play it. Like, you have to buy the game first. When, again, a game like Overwatch out there for free. Or you could play games like Team Fortress 2, Apex Legends, or if you even want to go outside of that scope, you could go to Left 4 Dead 2. I mean, there's so many games out there that accomplish what task this game is trying to go after that already do it so much better that there is no audience for this game. I mean, unless you're pandering directly to the nose ring mafia where, oh, I want to see myself in a game and that's the only kind of game I can play, which, let's be honest, that's clearly what they're doing with this, because the people making this game and the people making the decisions up top are like, oh, there's an audience of people out there that have to see themselves in a game. So look at how they design these characters. Look at how they put this game together and ask yourself, how many people out there actually want to see themselves in a video game? You already know the answer to that. The disconnect between the critical praise and the player reception is stark once again. It also raises questions about the motivations behind these glowing reviews. As one I saw, Morgan Park, a guy that works as a staff writer for PC Gamer, who was already listed on Kotaku Detected regarding sexism and misogyny from the studio Game Science, working on Black Myth Wukong. This guy used IGN as a source to continue to pile on Game Science to make them look as bad as possible. And you want to tell me that this same guy wrote a tweet from PC Gamer saying, "Uh-oh, I played 7 hours of Concord this weekend and immediately want back in." Why would you want back in? Have you not played Overwatch 2? Have you not played Team Fortress? Have you not played all these other games that do it better? What is the actual driving motivation force behind saying that? And again, we all know what it is. These people, whether they know it or not, are a cog in the machine of pushing the DEI agenda. Then we have IGN's Travis Northup trying to push it as well with a headline, "Concord Review in Progress, Beta Impressions." Just because it isn't innovative doesn't mean Sony's hero shooter isn't extremely fun so far. That makes it sound like you're trying so hard for people to accept that it's a good game. Like, yeah, I get it. Like, it's really rough around the edges. It's broken in a lot of places. It's missing a lot of the things you expect, the conveniences of arena shooters. It's missing all that stuff. Yeah, I get it. But putting that all to the side, it's still really fun. You just gotta try it and play it. Where I take the stance of, why? Like, what motivation as a gamer do I or anyone else out there have to not only play this game, but proactively spend our money on it before playing it, and then, if you don't already, pay for a PlayStation subscription to the network to go online and play it, or go straight to Steam, buy the game and play it on Steam, which we already went over is not very good numbers so far. And it goes back to the whole premise of, that's exactly what's wrong with the video game industry today, is they have this audacity to move forward and think that no matter what they do, no matter what decisions they make, the consumer is just going to eat it up at the end of the day, because if not, you're a bigot, you're a horrible person, because look at these people. I mean, they're representations of of the modern audience and the people out there playing the games, and we're trying to include people and be diverse and have all these things that everyone should have, and embrace this stuff and make sure our ESG score goes up because we need more money from BlackRock and Vanguard. But don't worry about that, just buy the game. Like, at the end of the day, that's the only result and answer I can come to. And ultimately, I'm so, like, just beyond sick that the industry thinks that this is okay to push and not get any pushback. I feel like they're in for a rude awakening. But those are my thoughts on the situation. If you want more information, check out smashjt.com for the full article, links, references, screenshots, everything I went over in this video, and then some. Also, if you enjoy what I'm doing and appreciate it, please consider hitting that join button. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, you stay smashing.
Smash,